What's up, everyone? We are back with Hot Take Mondays. This is the first one of 2026, by the way. So it's been we had some heat in 2025, so now we got to come even hotter, in 2026. Definitely look forward to these takes. Grant said that he's got a take that I don't know. I guess gonna either piss me off or make me smile or whatever. We'll see what ends up happening. So Grant, why don't you start us off? Why don't you
All right, so my hot take this we got to bring this one way back, way back to what was this 2014? Back in the day, Shawn, you probably weren't even really a fan of him because he wasn't on your team at the time. But there was a young guy, Kawhi Leonard. He was out there for the Spurs, as you know, going up against obviously my goat, LeBron James. My whole thing revolves around that back in the day, right? So obviously we've all seen the iconic, when Kawhi checks in, Bryant's the free throw line, turns around, and he ain't too happy. He sees Kawhi checking back in. So my whole thing is, and you already know this, I'm a Bron guy the day I die. But I'm just saying, if you were to put LeBron's longevity into Kawhi's body, I think we could be having a conversation about Kawhi being up there with like the goats up there. I mean, we saw what happened in 2019, for example, when he actually was taking over. He was healthy. He had Pascal Siakam out there who was cooking with him and stuff. And so obviously we've seen what he can do. Obviously we know Kawhi is a hooper when healthy, when he's on the court. No disrespect to Kawhi, but the reason I also dog him so much is because he's never healthy. He can never just stay healthy. And then obviously we kind of see what that's done to his career in terms of kind of how he's viewed as this, superstar and everything. But again, my whole hot take revolves around if he were to stay healthy, we see what he could do at a young age. We saw it against one of the best at the time in LeBron, how he's able to not necessarily stop him by any means. He was able to hold him kind of to his own there at a younger age at that. Went on to play for a successful dynasty for a while. If he would have stayed healthy through all that, I mean, who knows if Toronto ends up different, say he ends up staying as opposed to going to that poverty team, who knows? So basically, all I'm saying is if you just put LeBron's longevity into Kawhi, I think we're seriously having a conversation about one of the greatest of all time to do it there.
Does San Antonio get rid of him then?
I don't know. I don't really know how you could at that time. I mean, with San Antonio, that's the thing. They're very, very team oriented. But like the thing with Kawhi is he was that's just how he kind of was made to play. And he was already in that system. It's like I don't think they would have got rid of him.
That's interesting. I like it. Because you think about it, like longevity. Okay, I mean, Zaza would never happened. But it did happen, and the injury changed its course, and he was out for that next season, and demanded a trade and everything like that. But yeah, no, if he definitely had LeBron's longevity, like, yeah, we'd have some conversations. He'd be over Kobe for sure.
Well, Zaza, like what you say right there, for
Shout out
example,
Max
too, though.
Kellerman.
Stop it.
Shout out Max Kellerman. Oh, Kawhi would definitely be over Kobe if you gave him LeBron's longevity. Yeah,
That don't mean he's gonna get 5 rings.
No, I don't mean to get that many rings because also the Warriors happened. I mean, at the end of the day, Bron was playing like Jordan's era back then or something like that when it was really just like one superstar per team. It wasn't, 80 superstars on one team every single season. That's a little different. But I think that's why I don't know. I think rings are one thing with the whole argument. This is a whole other conversation. Like I still think at the end of the day, like Kawhi is going to be talked about as one of the best, just because I think he'll get his team out there. He does all the right things, like when he's actually out there. And I'm one of the biggest Kawhi haters. You know this. I do not like Kawhi that much, and I actually love LeBron. So this take it actually pains me to say this, but genuinely, we've seen what can happen. I'm just saying. At the end of the day, my whole hot take is that right there. And I figured you'd like it, Shawn, just because now he's your boy. But he didn't do nothing on the Clippers. I just want to point that out. He didn't do nothing on the Clippers. It wasn't nothing to do with the Clippers. Nothing to do with them whatsoever. If anything, they actually regressed everything. I think if he didn't go there, stayed on the Raptors, my statement might still could be, have some validity to it.
Grant, no. Go ahead, Shawn.
I was just gonna say, I think even if he would have stayed in Toronto, I don't think like his career would have changed either way because
No, I don't think
you had Boston right there coming up, and then I guess you could say Philly, but I mean, at that time that he was there, but yeah, I like the take. I do like the take, but I just like the whole ring thing. Yeah, I mean, the Clippers thing is just a mess. So
If it's funny
Yeah.
that your hot take is about Kawhi because I'm not gonna lie, so is mine. And
No.
I'm kind of taking this. I saw it online a little bit, but it was more just about the rumor of Kawhi potentially being in a trade asset this season because, like we've said, the Clippers are near the bottom of the West. They're not looking like they're going to make the playoffs.
Terrible.
And a team, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but a team like the Thunder, the number one team, they're skidding just a little bit, and it doesn't look like they're going to beat that record. And if Sam Presti is thinking, hey, we need this team to get even better, they could go after a guy like Kawhi Leonard and maybe even get him another ring. Now hear me out, because I mean, with the Thunder, you've seen Sam Presti make trades like this. It doesn't even have to be players. They could send the Clippers some pretty nice draft compensation.
On a draft pick?
Yeah. I mean, if they said, hey, Clippers, we have your pick for this year, and we're gonna get the third pick because you guys are so bad. Here, take it back and give us Kawhi, and we'll also give you, I don't know, Aaron Wiggins. There you go.
What are we talking? Oh my! Oh, this is.
I mean, like trade him to OKC. I feel like at that point he'd have to be looked at as like a KD type.
Because if you think about it, though, why would Kawhi want to spend the last 3 seasons, however long he's going to play on this terrible Clippers team? They're not ever do anything, and I don't think he's going to want to go to a team that's fringe contender. He wants to guarantee to be in the playoffs and to potentially win more rings. And it seemed like the Thunder has the ability, hypothetically, to do that.
I just don't think he wants to leave home. That's the thing. Because I honestly, I think he would have done it already. And I think if he actually wanted out and wanted to go to a contender, he would have did it last year or this summer. I think it just comes down to he wants to play at home. He likes being at home, close to family and playing in front of family and friends.
Oh no! It's because Steve Ballmer is paying him under the table. He's probably gonna get banned from the league after this shit.
Yeah, he's actually gone. Yep, he's getting
in reality,
retirement treatment.
He really should be trying to get out and clear his name in some way.
Well, that's the thing too. I don't know, like with this whole investigation, like I don't know if you can trade him. Like that's the whole thing. Because like Miami could technically trade Terry Rozier, but I don't think they can.
Yeah, but ain't nobody want Terry Rozier. Teams would actually want Kawhi Leonard, though. He's still, like you said, Shawn. He dropped 50 points this season. He still can prove that he can play. And if he seriously wants to, if he cares about his legacy, he don't really seem like he does because he doesn't really care about the media. He doesn't care about his image. He's taking money under the table. So, yeah, go ahead. Honestly, Kawhi, go ahead. Do what you want to do. But hot take, the Thunder could trade for Kawhi Leonard if they wanted to.
This season.
And get even better.
This is one of the hottest takes I think I've ever heard.
Now
that's a hot take. That's up there. That's up there. Because like if you put Kawhi on that team, I mean, whether he plays or whether he doesn't play, I mean, depending on what you give up, yeah, the Thunder are probably still the favorites, to win it. And
and it doesn't really fit their timeline. Obviously, they got all these young guys, but shoot, I mean, if Sam Presti doesn't care,
he picks back too. Yeah, I would do it.
Sam Presti doesn't care about that, and he realizes they need a little more defense, they need a little more dog. I'm just saying, on paper, it could work. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen.
That's a 2K trade right there.
It is a 2K ass trade for sure. It is a my league ass trade. My GM.
Yeah, we do a trade in 2K in my GM right now. They'd probably break the record. Especially if you're not trading J-Dub, Chet, or any of the high rotation pieces, Caruso, Hartenstein, they probably, you just plug Kawhi in that, give them picks and AJ Mitchell, the other Jalen Williams. Yeah, they probably do break the record. That's that is a very hot take. That's
why I thought it was funny that Grant's take was about young Kawhi, because I was thinking man.
You was thinking about old Kawhi.
Yeah, I was thinking about old Kawhi. So
that's crazy though. I like it.
That's funny. Well, mine obviously, I'm unfortunately I cannot continue the trend. I don't have a Kawhi hot take today, but I'll have to think about that. My hot take is going to be, it still is in the West. Deals with the Golden State Warriors. up and down season all throughout the year. Sitting, play-in, fringe playoff team, whatever way you want to put it. It's been talked about how, they're possibly looking at Michael Porter Jr. or some other pieces to add to the trade deadline, at the trade deadline to kind of make this final push, for the postseason this year. But I think that either way you cut it, whether it be at the trade deadline, whether it be this coming summer, I think we are in the final days, the final stages of the Draymond Green and Steph Curry duo. I think Draymond Green is going to be shipped off in a trade, whether it be now or this coming summer. That's my hot take.
I could agree with that one just because I think Steve Kerr's fed up. I think the whole Warriors team, obviously they've had a lot of success. Obviously nothing to taken away from Draymond. Just at this point in his career, when you're still getting teed up every other couple nights and yelling at who knows who for God knows what reason. At this point, it just kind of gets like it's just time. I mean, unless you're like that guy, like you gotta be the star of the team, dropping 30 points, 10 assists, 4 steals every. I mean, he's just at this point, he's just not that guy, and it's just almost become a distraction now for the Warriors. If we're gonna be honest, I think. So I think it's a great take. I think it's time for them to move on. I think a lot of people there already. I think maybe even Draymond deep down kind of knows. I think it's over. It's good.
Yeah, that'd be crazy because it was one thing when they traded Clay, and I think that obviously was a little bit bigger just because like Splash Brothers were such a thing for so many years. But if they get rid of Draymond, then yeah, it's officially over for the Warriors, whatever sort of leftover dynasty they had. But man, that'd be sad for Curry. Because he said he didn't want to go out like Kobe. It's looking like he is.
Yeah.
But yeah. I agree with Grant too. I mean, Draymond's always been a tough competitor, but at some point it's kind of like, what are you arguing for? Like at this point you are just kind of being a distraction to the team, and you're not really helping out winning games like he was before. Because before, at least he was, fighting with LeBron and throwing actual good guys off their game. Now I don't even know who he's fighting with. He's fighting with like random players. So yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah. Though, back in the day, 2016 finals, game 7, people forget he dropped 30 points in that game. I mean, like, if he didn't drop 30 points, it's not even, we don't need the block. We don't need that 3. It's like a 89 to 64 point game. It's not even close. It's one of the most disappointing games of all time. So I mean, again, he's had his moments, nothing to take away from him. Obviously, defensive talent and all that. It's just, it's time. It's run its course.
Yeah, I say, shoot, come to the Pistons, bro. You already have that mentality. You might as well just come to the Pistons. You can ride the end of the bench. You can be over there with Javante Green, with Paul Reed. We can get a couple minutes here and there. The Draymond Green experience. He'll still probably get teed off the bench, but. I honestly, I personally wouldn't mind it. As long as he's not in the starting lineup or in the rotation for real. But I wouldn't mind it because he already has a mentality. But yeah, no, it's just it's sad to see. Like Nate, you mentioned how Steph didn't want to go out like Kobe, but it's unfortunately starting to get that way. It's just like the Warriors. The Warriors haven't done anything. I mean, big since. I mean, I guess you could say the Jimmy Butler deal was big, and they had their chance last year, in the postseason. But Curry got hurt, and Jimmy Butler didn't show up. But I just think that with the team that they have currently constructed, it's very hard, and them being capped over the second apron, it's very hard to get things done when your third highest player is giving you 4 to 5 points a game. He's scoring more fouls and technicals than points, and that's the issue. That's actually a problem. Yeah. So I think it's time to go. It was like you said, great dynasty. It was a great run, one that obviously we all saw during our childhood. Definitely Draymond Green will always be a name that we'll always remember. But at the same time, it's, it is what it is. You're not that guy anymore. So it's time to move on. And yeah, because like I said, they're trying to get Michael Porter Jr. and things, and it's like, well, how do you do that? You got to trade obviously Kuminga, but the Nets don't want Kuminga, and so it's like, okay, well, who else do involve the deal? Al Horford? Nobody wants Big Al. He's too old. Moses Moody? Okay. pods, the second coming of Stephen Curry. Nobody wants him, and so it's like, it's gonna have to be a multiple team deal. But I just think, Steph and Draymond will always. I think they'll always have that connection. I think they'll always, be that. Like you said, they won't be as big as like the Splash Bros, but they'll always be part of that. But I just think it's run its course. It's time for it to go. They had a good little run. I just think, like I said, Draymond has he's never been a big offensive player, but now it's just like, like you guys said, he's more of a distraction than he's actually like an impact on the court.
You care about his podcast more sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. He can go on podcasts. He can go chop it up with Chuck and Shaq and Kenny and all them. And maybe he'll find joy in that. Join that team. That'll be a nice 5-man roster right there. Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, Chuck, and Draymond Green. That's solid. You're gonna get no 3-pointers, but you're gonna get all the texts and hard fouls in the world. So yeah, it'll be a very physical game, literally. But yeah, no. So that was my hot take for the week. It wasn't as spicy as what you guys brought to the table, but next week I'll do a little bit better. I'll turn it up a little bit.
Shout out Draymond Green, man.
Yeah, shout out Draymond. Shout out Draymond Green. Draymond, if you see this, don't go off on this, big bro. We all should stay fans. We love you, bro. So
Yeah, go coach MSU with Dizzo.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go coach at MSU. Well, that's all we got for you guys today. We'll keep keeping tabs on the All-Star stuff and everything else that transpires. Next episode, we'll do our mid-season awards and things of that matter, which you know what that means. We got to have a special guest who always is on the mid-season awards, Zay Buffkin. Maybe you can get him to talk about Kobe a little bit too on this 10-day contract. So I'll talk with him. But yeah, so that's all we got for now. Until next time, we'll catch you guys then.